If you'd like to support the Snail Show, I'm going to put the link in the description for the Patreon page, and there's also a PayPal. It's paypal.me/snailshow. I'm not in my car, look at this. So, how to get Christian. Okay. I haven't had Christian on in 3 months. He's in Puerto Rico now. We're gonna go out there at some point. Maybe this will just be a Gary show. No Christian. It's a possibility. Okay. He's here. Total non-video participants 1. Chris, you there? Are you here in audio format only? Show non-video. Alright, Christian is here. We have the name. The name has arrived. So, Christian, how have you been? Yeah? You've been in solitude? You've been contemplating life? In silence?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
What's up? I gotta download the like software for me to get a video of myself. I'm just in browser right now. It's really laggy, but if you can hear me, I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Hello.
Audio's good.
Yeah. Okay. Shit. I have a lot of lag.
I mean, it's totally fine with me to do it just with audio if it's a pain in the ass to download the thing. Or we can, let that happen when it happens.
Yeah. We can just go ahead. What's up, man?
Yeah, how you been?
I've been doing good. I've been in Costa Rica the last couple of months, and now I'm in Puerto Rico visiting a friend.
So what spurred you to go to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica in the first place?
Wow, unbearable stress of the overwhelming stimulation, and yeah.
Stimulation, really? Like.
Yeah, on all fronts, you're just constantly stimulated.
So it was just too much. It was just information overload.
I guess if you see it events as information. So, and I really mean just I guess, fuck man, it's hard because so I went I'm smoking a lot of weed at my friend's house before I went to Costa Rica, and not really good on my diet, and my teeth were fucking hurting really bad because I have root canals and they drain into the lymph system. So if I open up the muscles in my neck by stretching and massaging them and get circulation and oxygenation, they were swelling up and shit, and they're hurting and throbbing. And so I wanted to go somewhere warm and outside of the electromagnetic microwave fields and away from video games and volunteer in Costa Rica. And I went to a yoga retreat. Yeah, it's been good, better. Now I'm in Puerto Rico.
Do you know anybody there?
In Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a big cycle for me. I'm at my friend's house that I met the first time I went to Costa Rica on my first adventure there. And it's life just kept bringing us together after I met him at a raw food community that I didn't mean to go to. It's it was another time that I had to just get out of the United States, and I found a community online, called the dude, and he said I could come. And I went there, and this lady was hosting a big yoga retreat at the same time. There's another volunteer there. There's a healing center, a raw food healing center. And then I ended up going to the that community felt matrix, money, emotional
You're breaking up.
stuff of toward that little place, that I would essentially.
Christian, you're really breaking up. I don't know if your connection's good enough.
Yeah, hold on. What about now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, I had to close.
If the distortion is at maybe 10 to 20%, it's alright. Not at 90%.
The point is that it's that I've been going through synchronistic cycles Alright. Oh, let me try to download this thing and see what happens.
The video function.
Yeah, 1 second.
We're gonna go outside. I can manage this. All these cords, things, microphones. Oh shit. Okay. It's kind of bright out here, but this is good still. Get some gardens. So bright out here. Here's the garden. Yes. Garden things. Oh, the mouse doesn't work very well on this glass table. Maybe it works fine. Nope, it doesn't work good. Works better on my hand. My hand has better. Daniel. New Snail Show with Daniel. What's up, Daniel? Hey, there you are. What's up, buddy? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, is it really laggy?
No, you're good.
Hey. Awesome.
You're crystal clear.
Finally. Nice sunny day over there.
Yeah, you like my non-car style environment?
Yeah, I do, actually. I'm in. Yeah, I'm outside too, so we're looking outside over there, so nice.
Outside is good, yes.
Yeah.
So you've been having an adventure, yes?
Yeah, I have, for sure. It's like been a round two. Like the first time I went to Costa Rica, I met all these people that I saw again, and now I'm staying in Puerto Rico with somebody that I met the first time I went to Costa Rica. So it's like a big life cycle that's repeated itself.
How does your family
nice.
feel about this, or do they not know?
What's up?
How does your family feel about your adventures?
To be honest, they supply a little bit of the funding, but I tend to get by on little amounts of money, and I volunteer where I can right now. But I really want to get past that and make some money at the same time. But I just did a lot of construction for the past like month and a half before coming here. I've been here for about a month.
So you saved up?
Every day, a lot of intense labor. So off and on, I'll go through intense labor periods, and it's like it fluctuates. But
and are you working there at all, or you have enough to sustain?
My friend has been very generous and kind of has let me chill here. I've just been kind of chilling, really.
Yeah.
And but I'm learning, and a lot of that stuff has happened here and just a lot of things that I've seen that has related to things keep moving, in my head. Like I've built ideas that never stop rolling in my head and I've built, every experience that I actually do when I'm not being lazy builds upon everything that has come before in a good way.
It's not just about being lazy. I think it's also about we are a bit timid in our vision of what we feel ought to be happening versus what is happening, and I think we do this delayed gratification thing with regards to that. We put it off and put it off. I know I do that myself, and there's a balance between that, like surging forward and shouting off the rooftops your information, and kind of subtly like letting it seep out. There's a balance there that we have to remain within.
And it's just like holy crap, I've really woken up to how much of a man, it's just like the addictions and the viewpoints of the material world and things that you want materially usurping like spiritual aspects like out from under you, and you're doing it and you know that you're doing it, and it's just like and you just keep committing like this kind of like spiritual or energetic suicide where you like continue these patterns that like are betraying yourself. It's like self-destruction, but it's like you're using it to delay gratification essentially from the inevitable conquering and facing of what you've been holding on to, like the shit that you hold on to forever.
Yeah, we're really good at that
throughout lifetime. So, and like
we're really good at that.
Is it working?
But there's the way I see it is there's not, if you don't see yourself as finite, then there's not a rush to whatever is happening. Whether you have a vision you would like to impress upon the populace or not, there's not a rush, and you can then go about it in artistic fashion and let your sort of subtleties come out.
Right. Exactly. You can't rush. I mean, it's like, so I saw like a documentary the other day about like on Netflix, so I'm pretty convinced Netflix now, like I had the thought earlier as Netflix started becoming popular that the shows on it were basically, soft disclosure continuously towards the population.
Yes. This is true. Not even just soft disclosure, it's just regular disclosure.
Alright, so the documentary was about this dude's father that died on LSD, and like they were MK ultra him in the movie, and it's just like the general populace is watching this, and I've been like studying MK ultra since I'm
What movie is it?
So it's called Wormwood.
Lerm?
Netflix.
What's it called? What's it called? Wormwood?
Wormwood.
Wormwood. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Let me see if I can move closer to the Wi-Fi router and
Okay, so Wormwood and MK Ultra.
I mean, look, so yeah, I mean, that's just they're introducing MK Ultra to the public, making a movie. There, it's just like fucking bullshit. Because I've been listening to some music, looking at like fucking Will Smith's kid, Jaden Smith, and like how his hair is dyed blonde. Kanye West, his hair is dyed blonde. Julian Assange's hair is dyed blonde. Like, okay, so I'm just dropping a stream of thought for y'all to chase. Like, in a second, you don't even have to chase it; you just have to look it up. But it's like
They're all currently hair is dyed blonde.
Yeah, all their hairs are dyed blonde.
All three,
and
like Eminem.
Ultra. So it's like the blonde. It's like blonde is like they. Okay, so I was reading that it's all kinds of stuff like. It's like the new stars always dye their hair blonde. It's like a new thing. It's just a pattern that occurs with these MK Ultra people. That's as far as I'll go with it. I don't know why. So listening to Frank Ocean, right? And yeah, he has a whole album that's blonde, and his hair is dyed blonde in it. It's called Blonde. And then Jaden Smith, he does this new music video, and like it's really popular or whatever, and his hair is dyed blonde. And then it's even crazier because his father, Will Smith, right, then does like a trolling video, or does. I say like that they do this, but it's more of just like an act and a play because they're all like being puppeted around with symbols and stuff like that. It's like all the role models that our society is like worshiping are actually like basically ritual abuse victims that are being fucking brainwashed and shit. Like it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like all these and then Kanye West before when he had his big things where he just started talking like about things. He started talking. I'll just say that everybody knows what I'm talking about. And then like the suits.
I saw a bit of it.
Then the next day it was like they called the ambulance in and they took him to the mental hospital.
Wait. This was after his recent. Wait. This was after his recent sort of TMZ stuff that he did? Kanye?
No, not the most recent. The stuff before when he was at concert and he just started talking on stage about everything. Like he was being
real, like he was being honest about what he actually thought.
What was happening to him and everything. Like he didn't say everything outright, but what he was saying and what he was saying was deep to the fact that that he was being controlled, that he was like trying to wake up the general populace past the illusion of him being like a superstar and then like trying to take that information into his apps, and then people in suits got him off stage. Like, and so who stops like this dude's own concert? And then the next day they like come and get him, like it's crazy enough in the store, and somebody comes and gets him like in the ambulance and commits him to the mental hospital, and he comes back with his hair dyed blonde. So, and then you can look up Julian Assange and like how okay, so that's a big part of it, right?
Julian Assange, is he the WikiLeaks guy? Or who?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then even Trump has blonde hair, and that's like, and then after seeing The Simpsons, just the whole Simpsons thing where The Simpsons was predicting it, Trump, and then like the sign dropping and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I've seen all these videos, so it's it.
I haven't seen all of them, but I can connect the dots. What do you think blonde hair signifies? I know Eminem was a blonde when he was releasing his early albums.
Oh yeah, dude, he dyed his hair blonde. He's not a natural blonde.
Yeah, he's like a brunette, like a dirty dishwater.
On Google.
Yeah, he was blonde for his early albums. I don't think he's ever done it again, but that was like a formative part of my childhood, was seeing Eminem as as a fake blondie.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And then I'm pretty sure Justin Bieber isn't blonde naturally either.
No.
Miley Cyrus, natural blonde. And when she dyed her hair blonde, she started doing all the crazy stuff. Remember? All right. So and there's like even then like with Miley Cyrus wearing like pizza outfits, you know, pretty blood. Like that's definitely psychological warfare and introducing concepts into the subconscious mind to like generalize it, associate it, whatnot. Like this is all shit that came from fucking the Nazi scientists that came over in World War II, and it's being used right now. So, and then it's just it's all about this. It's all about
Edgar
Atlantis.
Casey. Yeah.
And that's
Edgar Casey has he has a detrimental societal opinion on him, right? So, for the most part, I mean the regular people.
Who does?
Casey.
Huh?
Casey.
Detrimental view on society?
No. The society has a detrimental view on him. From my perspective, he's viewed.
I don't know, but
he's viewed as like a witch, a male witch or something.
Basically. But I mean, we are all witches and wizards in our own right. Like we can't escape from the fact that our thoughts are creating the reality around us. And that, like our feelings and intentions like roll out and touch things, and we can imagine things and gain information from other places, and like how far you take it is really up to what you want to do with your mind and your body, and how your willingness to connect that with your spirit and your intention and so on and so forth. So like yeah, I mean like so there we go. Like it's that first thing. It's like so Atlantis, and then it's like Edgar Casey, and then people are like, oh no, and then the first block's already set up. It's like nope. It's like don't go there. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because every single person has something negative to say about anything and everything, and there's a risk and there's a danger to literally everything in this reality. So it's like you either do it or you don't, or you it's so that it's like it's a consciously set up, not like consciously set. I just mean there's a challenge. There's a challenge to this stuff and thinking for yourself, because literally, even if you have scientific reports that agree with your opinions and your theories can be like connected to mathematics or ancient mystery religions, or like well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you are always going to be struggling to find the truth of the information, even after you found the truth. Like the way that the American public is set up is constant, like counterintelligence and cognitive dissonance. It's like the shills are paid, and like if people will replicate this mindset of no, don't do it, or of fear. So it's like you could be doing anything, whether it's like your dream or realizing that we're Atlantis repeating itself, that we're an ancient civilization, that we're the same souls going through the same karmic lessons of this society and the way it's playing out and what we're accepting, and basically what's going on right now, which I would like to get into with like quantum computing and electromagnetic technology, nuclear technology, weather modification, which is the same exact path that Atlantis went down. And like Atlantis was a world conqueror. We have military bases all over the world in the U.S. And I was watching a Netflix documentary. It's like on Netflix they try to downplay all this stuff, like Tesla, like in his technology, saying that it's imaginary, or that Atlantis, they don't give much proof for things. They don't go into how the pyramids are all over the world or blah blah. They don't do any of that. But it's like fucking, since they don't want to face that, that's what we're going through again, and it's just doubt.
What happened to Atlantis? They were destroyed, right? Or there was a lot of warfare. What do you know as far as the destruction of Atlantis?
So it's like because of the technology, basically, that we're using now, that they ended up destroying their continent, essentially.
And is that in this like on this Earth that we're inhabiting, or in some past, or is it like a parallel timeline or something?
Like it's literally the last civilization before the Great Flood. Like in biblical terms, like the flood came out and wiped all the civilizations. And if you research things like artifacts that have been found that go way back, they're like batteries and stones and hammers that don't develop rust because they're mixed with, like, the metals are mixed into an alloy of two different metals that don't rust. And it's like super advanced stuff like this, or in the Vedas they have flying machines, and it tells like how to cloak your aircraft and all kinds of stuff in the Vedas, scientific stuff. Like, if anybody's interested in that, they can look up ancient Indian aircraft. Like, there's all kinds of stuff on it. And then we have UFOs now, and then like look at what our government's interested in terms of like the deep esoteric, searching for the hidden dimensions among electromagnetic waveforms and all kinds of stuff that the Nazis were into. And the Nazis were into finding Atlantis as well, like the lost civilization that had all this advanced technology. And it's really interesting because ISIS and all the terrorist groups that the U.S. funds and sends over there were destroying temples and like ancient sculptures and things on walls like that. So they're destroying the past. And even in the U.S., they're taking down all the Civil War monuments, and like people aren't even going to realize that like all those generals went to the same like school or like shit like that, or it's like destroying the past and then like using all of the information of the past to, I guess, reenact what's happened before.
Yeah.
Which was a one world, like, hive mind, transhuman, like the lower class were transhuman, like nanorobot, trans-infected type of lower class that were mind controlled via wireless signals emitted by pyramids, like obelisks, and more advanced technology. Like now, like that's what's happening, is we're being controlled by electromagnetic frequencies, and the food and the genetically modifying, and the wireless signal breaks open the cell, and then all kinds of stuff. And if you're interested, you can look up like videos, or like even like the chemtrail fallout that you see. They ever spray one day and you see all the fallout and the particulates. Like at night, you can take a flashlight out and you'll see like all the particulates. Yeah.
You think that's from chemtrails? That's not just dust?
Yeah. And last time I was on here, like Atlantis has AI. Okay. And then Francis Bacon. Like, I really want to talk about Atlantis because literally, like, everybody has to understand that the elite know this. Like, the elite know about this, and this is what they're doing. Like, they're cultivating the ancient knowledge of Atlantis to bring it back. And that's why it's called the Great Work of the Pyramid without the capstone, because that's what they're doing. But the technology doesn't even have to be pyramids now. Now it's just like wireless network towers that can be used in the same way. Like, people, and I'm not even like fear mongering and stuff. Like, this is just what I am seeing going on right now. And like, I just had an ad on my YouTube account the other day. Like, yeah, soon, like Dr. Michao Kaku or whatever, Michao Kaku. Fucking the Asian dude. Just look up our world, the world in 2020, okay? It's the Asian physicist, and he works with the CERN particle collider, all the stuff. And people need to realize that NASA was founded by Freemasons and Nazi scientists that came over from there. So it's like literally all the information that we're fed. Okay. And so Michael Kavanagh, I keep telling people about this on your show, like, he like knows about how the CIA and Disney like basically pre-programmed generations with like mentalities, and they literally go forward and do that like with their lives. Like, and I look at Disney movies and like fucking shit like this, and their hints at advanced technology, and like I mean, like, what's in my head and the things that I've pursued are obviously being planted in my subconscious. That's why it's like has to be fucking past life, because everything that I know has to do with all of these things.
Do you have any thoughts that come into your mind that you feel are your own, so to say, or do you feel like everything is planted?
You know, that's hard to say, because we are like these mortal beings that are like striving for perfection or pleasure. Like we're striving for these material things, and our soul is like entangled in them, and we're trying to figure out who we are while being constantly stimulated from all directions to make a choice, essentially. And when we do or don't, we're either like harming ourselves or empowering ourselves, essentially. But the thing is that since we're in this karmic cycle, it's like we don't have a real choice in that matter. Like about like what thoughts I've been implanted with by, you know, just so many things.
Well, it's information overload. It's like we were talking about earlier. It's in the past, in our remembered past. Like, you're younger than me. You're what, early 20s, right? In my remembered past, before the internet and all the technology did its explosion thing, we didn't have access to all this stuff. We had books, and then books take a long time to read, and we didn't really like reading that much, and it was like we didn't even get into it very much, you know. Now you have the internet, you have Google, and it's literally infinite. Like, Google is infinite as far as we know. I've never found the end of it. I've never found it repeating itself. It adapts itself to my own understanding as well. And you can look up anything and everything, and that one giant massive rabbit hole called a search engine, which is fueled by AI and algorithms, is endless. And you know, when we were younger,
I feel like
it was simpler.
From what I've seen on the internet, it's like they've dwindled it down. Either that, or people are so stupid that most of the things that I find aren't like necessarily acting on like any type of like higher mindset. Like even like
you're true. You're right. You're right there. You're certainly right there.
It's like either heavily filtered
or
like whatever. But that's the thing, is like the internet and the space fence and Lockheed Martin, all these people are the same people creating this internet of things, is what they call it, and grid, like a literal electromagnetic grid that is going to have everybody on point, like down to their electromagnetic signature. It's like the AI, like manipulating feelings and shit like this. And they have, like, if you look up, there's like the chemicals in rivers, like gender benders and shit like this. Like, the stimulation that I'm referring to is like all out on every front you can possibly imagine. Like, we're being stimulated down like to the molecular, to the hormonal level, like for control, down to information, to what we think about, to what we are interested in pursuing for control. And it's a part of what's going on in this reincarnation cycle in regards to merging the, like, what's happening, which is the basically digital artificial control of like all life on the planet mixed with our consciousness. And what happens when, you know, the planet or God or whatever intervenes, or like, so it's not just like people are being transfused with technology, like, and what we're going to start seeing today with people with microchips in their head. Like, so the ad on YouTube I saw was like, you can get a microchip in your head, and like, well, if advanced robotics coming soon, you can look any way you want. Like, you can look any way you want and have a microchip in your head and always be connected to the internet. This is like the next 2 years coming. So it's like really fast onset where people are going to be tied into a grid while simultaneously like destroying or sucking the life out of the planet. And, you know, it's happened before with ancient civilizations, and only like they were like, I won't say more advanced, but I mean, the reality is so hidden with what they're able to do with the aerosols and the level of information that we are given as a public that people are interested in pursuing, or that the media wants to give us, and along with the disinfo that they purposely put out there to confuse people or discredit things that, like, studies or released papers by the government, or like, you know, old scientists like Tesla, William Reich, or Victor Schauberger, or, you know, Freud, or like Marconi. Like, you can follow the trail of inventors of the technology that they're using now, and then read what Atlantis has done in Edgar Casey's book. And his center is in Virginia, where I'm from, and I've just been following the fractals in my life. And so
His center, like, have you been there?
no, but I want to when I go back there.
I don't think I've read Edgar Casey. I've heard a lot about him because I know he's a very popular name out there, but I don't think I've ever, like, could you give us in a nutshell what Edgar Casey represents?
He was the sleeping prophet. He would basically go to sleep and enter like a trance, and then read people psychically and give them information about past lives or what they need to do for their health. And he has like thousands upon thousands of psychic readings that were documented that are stored in the Edgar Casey Center in Virginia. And so
and was he giving advice or cures or anything, or was he simply relating whatever his sense told him?
Cures and relaying information.
Okay, so he seemed to be a beneficial force. Like, he was channeling. He wasn't a manipulator, so to speak. He was just doing what he felt he needed to do.
I mean, I believe so, but, you know, that's what I mean. Like, this whole culture, like, everybody that's involved, and like who's involved with who gets where, and like what gets the spotlight, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
What is?
It's always convoluted.
Form our mindsets to this, and that's kind of like what I mean. Like, regardless of like all of that, it's like that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. It's like, even if none of it's like, so I know that this is all real because it's playing like fractally in my mind, and all of my information, like going back to the Torah, to the Kabbalah, to the roots of Christianity, to Islam. It's pervasive everywhere. Like, the picture that I'm looking at is pervasive in all cultures, like ancient cultures, and like what we had access to, and the way that the world was, like what I see now and what I recognize by biblical lore or other lore, because all that stuff is coming from like the same Abrahamic religions. And then you look to Egypt and everything, and it's coming from these main things. And like, whether you want to call it Atlantis or not, it's the mastery of electromagnetics and manipulation of the environment for warfare or for benevolent reasons. It's cloning and genetic modification and transhumanism, storing souls through computers and quantum fields of information, AI, which I was talking about Francis Bacon earlier. You can look up Francis Bacon wrote a book on how Britain was the center of New Atlantis, and that the new light body humans were going to come from Britain. which was going to be New Atlantis, which would be run by an AI. This is Francis Bacon. So he's one. Yeah, you gotta look him up.
Francis Bacon, really? Wasn't he? He was like. He was back in the 1800s, right, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a pervasive culture of believing in like the New Jerusalem, the light body, like which has to do with superconductivity, superhuman powers, like vibrating, so much.
But how come we never see this on the face of this realm? I know in media and popular culture and things like that, we have all of these stories, but my question would be, how did we get reduced to such a level of inertness, so to speak, as far as creatively living your life? You know what I'm saying? What's the what do you, in your mind? What is the purpose of that aspect of it?
The inertness of the freedom of living your life. You mean like not being able to move on past those concepts?
Yeah, like you know how an energy field is, right? Like if you have a bunch of people in the room and everybody is vibing on the same frequency, you can do anything you want. Like there are literally no impediments to how the group is going to move. I don't see that with the people in this realm. I see them all moving in the exact predetermined grooves that they're supposed to. And I've talked about this numerous times.
It's because it's not like... It's because it's humanity now. It's a mix of humanity, the lower class of surface dwellers of Atlantis, before the last civilization that was flooded, before all the pyramid builders came over to the Americas and built all the Aztec and Mayan culture and the mound builders of the USA. All these people essentially were lower class, and we ourselves are lower class robo-humanoids. It's repeating again. I mean, it's like, look at, I know it's hard to accept, but look at like the stimulation that we're stimulated with. Like, it's light, it's sound, it's base primordial, like our primal input, like binary win-lose scenarios. Like, it's very it's simple. It's very simple, and we are.
Yes. But those are very powerful for keeping the consciousness entrained. To keep you on that black-white, to keep you on the polarity judgment system, keeps your consciousness completely entrained, and it's incredibly subtle. It's not easy. I could talk about this all day long and say, oh well, this is exactly what it is. It doesn't mean that I'm not in it. It's incredibly subtle. It's very difficult to discern.
And I'm not even saying like to try to get out of that. All I'm saying is that like you can have a choice when that happens. Like, you're entrained. You can be conscious of what you're entrained to, and your entrainment can actually be your sole purpose. But the thing about Atlantis, the reason that it falls again, like rises and falls, the sun never sets on the British Empire, because the British Empire is constantly like building itself up again, like Rome and all these other, like the one world order, or like the coagulation of humans, are the synchronicity is happening again and again and again, and then being destroyed by the water. And the water is the primordial holder of information. It's like it's taking the physical manifestation of the spirit of our collective civilization soul group, and like bringing it back to the water. And that's like the prima materia, or like the first material is like water. We're all coming from the water, and we're 80% water, and all this stuff, and land, So the reasons that we keep getting destroyed, or that we keep going through suffering, or that we're, people are even like acting like robots now before they even are full robots, and they want to be robots too. It's like, it's fucking cool and all that shit. So it's like, it's because it's a karmic cycle, and obviously our souls are so entangled with this cycle that we're repeating it in material form until we come to a resolution. And the only resolution is going to be becoming aware. And then, like, that's the whole thing. It's like, when you become aware, you have control over that entrainment system.
Yeah.
And you become the entrainer of the material.
Right.
And that's part of the elites understanding in terms of why they go for the, harvesting of humans essentially is for those glandular systems that get activated with the kundalini and this fluid that causes our bodies to essentially vibrate at higher cellular frequencies, conduct and transport electrons faster and information, light. Like, our potential as creators is just like being completely usurped from us because nobody understands the sciences that are from the ancient civilization that fell before us, that we're all related to, that are being used now. But it's like, I feel that, you can either go about your life and just continue on, but I can't imagine a scenario where we're not going down the same, like, that's what they want. Like, so Michael Kavanagh, if you look him up on Facebook, like, he works for the Rand Corporation and is a Freemason and all this stuff, and he goes about the programming movies for children to get ideas and concepts in their head, like E.T. or fucking all these Disney movies with nanotechnology, like Big Hero 6 or like stuff like that, or fucking
Big Hero
like
6.
Treasure Planet that has opening dimensions and space travel and hexagonal like fucking solar flags that they're traveling through space with, and like all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure so many subconscious, like, because they use that, like the mind controllers use the Disney movies in MK Ultra to use certain trigger phrases or trigger scenarios in the person's mind to control them, essentially, because they've been exposed to the content and it has a trigger. And
This is system based though. This is not individual based. Right? This is hive mind stuff.
It is individual based because the culture has become the hive mind that they like tap into, like, because the culture itself is that win-lose stimulation that is the entanglement. So, like, what I mean is it can apply on individual bases because everybody's seen a Disney movie, or like these kids have seen them or have been exposed to this or that or whatever, and that is how it happens. It's like the culture opens the doorway for people to begin to go down these modes of thought, and they control the culture to know how people are to control how the modes of thought and society develops. So even like the most advanced thinkers on this point are standing on the shoulders of what our society has been cultivated on. And when we look at what America has been cultivated on, it's been the occult practices of the Nazis and the Freemasons and the Jews and all the other secret societies that have had their hand in cultivating this nation for their own gain, while we lower class people just run the cogs as a slave hive mind and get all the little technology, while they literally have the highest forms of technology you can possibly imagine. Like, if you look at quotes by Ben Rich, who is the director of Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, they're like, we have the technology to take ET home, but it would take a miracle of God to get them out of the black budget projects. What does the American people pay for? Like, what do the American people pay for? If you look into it, they're mainly paying for black budget projects. What are black budget projects? Getting the secret technology back that we had lost, our low altitude nuclear aircraft, our nuclear fusion, our laser beams, or whatever, weather modification, and also don't forget MK Ultra or transhumanism or all this shit. So it's like, that's why we're being reincarnated right now is because, like, literally, like, through the entanglement of society, we're all agreeing to it. So, I mean, ultimately,
we agree to it only in the aspect that the majority of everyone doesn't say anything about anything. That's the only implied consent I can see, because as far as I can tell,
because they don't know anything about anything, right?
yeah, right. They're just doing their thing. It's like, oh, I gotta wake up. Okay, I gotta brush my teeth. Okay, I gotta go to work. Okay, I gotta go home and fuck the wife, and then I gotta go to sleep, and then I gotta wake up the next day and repeat that, and then I gotta do that over and over 1 billion times in a row, and it's until I'm dead at 70 or whatever, if I'm lucky and I don't have lung cancer. This type of mentality is not necessary. If you're awake, you can do something else.
But okay, so in terms of circuitry, like, a person thinking like that would be linear thinking, right? Straightforward, ones and zeros, on and off. So that is like the lowest form of robotics, right? But a parallel thinker would be able to think of one thing and associate it and cross-reference with many things at the same time and arrive at a different conclusion based on the incorporation of the whole. And the feelings, because empathy as a human and being able to feel these things and think all these things and take into consideration, it really is like courtesy, like giving the things the courtesy in your mind to take them into consideration allows you to do that. But if you're just a robot that's on input-output, like basic mode, primal body functions, like lower 3 chakras, like you're in your lower mind, reptilian mind, or like, let's say you're possessed by a spirit that just wants a body, or like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, and that's what we are. That's like part of what Atlantis was that like bodies, and bringing spirits in like through portals to inhabit bodies, robots, chimeras, fusing animals and humans together, type of stuff that we're headed towards now in society. That's already been happening behind closed doors in society, that they make public slowly over time to get people accustomed to it and thinking it's normal.
Right.
And we see this happening with every single thing that has to do with the black magic and advanced sciences, or the white magic, are good and bad of Atlantis, or this lost civilization, and state of mind that is rising and falling again and again and again.
I can never get over the fact that the ones that are here and kind of looking around are so few and far between. I can get over that. I'm trying to like mentally work that into the overall structure, and aside from seeing that we're at some far advanced phase of an earlier transhumanism, which has this creative aspect removed completely from the majority of the population, I can't really rationalize that. It's difficult.
They can't even electrically conduct the single. That's the thing. It's like it's devolved.
What do you mean? What single?
Like, so everything is information, right? We're talking about stimulation. Like, if you just imagine your soul as like this little ball, and then like all this fucking information, like the body, like all this stuff is happening in this projection realm, right? We're computing this through our head and our ability to process this information. These people are literally have been psychologically programmed, militarily, like their body has been fucked with by vaccines, electromagnetic shit, GMOs, like all this stuff, and then demonic possession, and then like what do you, and like the way that society is right now is because we've been tampered with, like that way to devolve us from even being able to access these frequencies, because they are frequencies of information, and like the body.
It's channels, right? It's like tuning into a channel or not tuning into it. And we've been, it's like my friend Robbie said, you know, he's accessed higher states through DMT, and he says this particular state that we're in is the lowest frequency available to all of existence that you can basically sit in. Like, you might as well be a rock. In our understanding, if you're a rock, that would be where, in the spectrum of possible existences, that's where we would be in relation to the rest of it. And he said that changing the channels is not like a big deal necessarily, but there is a force that really like shoves you back into the 3D incarnative cycle. That's what he was saying. There's something that really wants us to be here for whatever reason.
To be here, like, in a good way?
I mean, if you look at it as in your self, your higher self, everything is for a purpose. So
Right.
whether it's a shit show or not, you're here, so you got to do something. But
Right.
but as far
Right.
as
You
the
could
options
say,
that are
that's
available,
it.
this is not the only option.
Right. And it's not the only option, it's literally like a psychic and a spiritual assault on our fucking bodies and minds by not only these people, but extra dimensional and spiritual forces that want us to succumb to these things and essentially get eaten from our, like, inside out by our desire to coalesce in the material world at the expense of our soul. And the other option is to move forward, because the only way that you balance on a bike is moving forward and pedaling. And, like, really, as a human, you're not gonna fucking stand still all day and then just, like, not fall over. But you could probably walk all day and still be balancing, like, forward.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're standing on a slack line or, like, walking a tightrope, you always gotta be, like, balance seems to be synergistic with movement. Like, things that stagnate don't, it's not good. And that's the secret to health too, is to have circulation and oxygenation of the body.
Yeah.
So the superhuman, like, Atlantis is dual aspects of all of our psychologies and our civilization. And what's happening right now is that I feel that it's either that the people that want to do something in society, like, and that's what I mean. It's like, what I'm trying to say is that in this movie, this dude worked for the government before in Wormwood that I was talking about, where he got dosed on LSD. They said that he killed himself, jumped out of a window and killed himself, but the family never got to see the body. And then the movie went to MK Ultra, and how they MK Ultra'd him, and it's on.
It's a documentary? It's supposed to be a documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary on Netflix.
Okay. So he actually, as far as records are concerned, he did jump out of the window and kill himself. After he was dosed with LSD.
Yeah.
Was this like immediately afterward, like an immediate reaction, or did he eventually like start getting affected and depressed or whatever and then jumped out?
No, it's like immediate reaction. And
Okay.
they never saw the body.
Okay. They never saw the body? Like nobody saw the body? The
family
family
never saw the body.
Okay. Huh. So it could have been a sort of a false flag on a miniature scale. Or something. Like something fishy was going on is what you're saying? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think it means?
Well, what I mean is, like, this dude worked for the government and was working in the secret projects, and after they kicked him off, they tested MK Ultra on him by dosing him with LSD and then made him kill himself, or otherwise he disappeared and became mind slave, or, like, whatever, assassin, sex slave, or messenger, or fucking package carrier, or whatever the fuck they're gonna make you do after they compartmentalize your mind. And that's the thing about society. It's like when I see in society and the things that I want to do, like work in electromagnetic physics, but not for the purpose of destroying everything around me, but for the purpose of understanding what these people are doing and how to negate it in my environment, etc., are working in nanotechnology, or working on these things, like, and expressing my opinions. Is the thing is like that in our society, we don't understand how many people are under psychological warfare, or ritual occult abuse, or MK Ultra, or programming from all of these sources are up high in the corporate world. Like, the people that make the money are actually make it, that we see with our eyes, and what we're exposed to in our culture, what we think is going to be successful, and the most advanced minds of the scientists or the military scientists, or what they do. All of this is compartmentalized and kept under wraps so that each part can't see itself, and then individuals within it are programmed and abused through MK Ultra to keep the whole top-down system running, but not being able to see any other part of itself. So we have this situation where we're getting reincarnated into this thing, and you have these themes that have to do with the manipulation of the environment and our souls and what we allow to happen, and the warlike nature, just the impeding things that are happening due to human development and what plagues humanity. I mean, that's all it is, really. But so it's like trying to find the middle ground and make a decision from that point is very challenging, because it's like, if you go through the system, you have to face so many things, but it's like, whether we have any control or not, this electromagnetic grid in this artificial world is coming.
Yeah.
And
it's already here.
Yeah, it's already here, and it's only going to get more apparent. So if we're being reincarnated to learn our individual lessons, this is the context that we're working within.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's what my point today is. Like, I know I'm super sloppy right now, and I need to work on my public speaking, but because my mind is
no, you're good. You're fine.
All this stuff, but
everyone's fascinated by you.
This is the context, and like, we don't have a choice about the context, and because of this, like, people are opting for the lowest vibration, which is, and we're allowing for the complete takeover of that, like, for the good or the bad, or like whatever, like, we're entering into a world where people are going to be hooked up to the internet 24/7 through their retina, and everybody's going to be programmed by artificial light, like optogenetics, like they already are, or like non-native electromagnetic fields, everything, like, just going into this advanced technology, just going down the line again and again and again. It's just like, this is, then compare to what we are spiritually capable of, and biologically we are capable just of humans being superconductors, having these powers that people are trading away their freedom for, like access to information on the regulated internet, versus going into a lucid dream or astral projecting and asking questions to the universe and having this information come into your consciousness.
Do some sun gazing.
And sun gazing, right? And the sun, this is my whole point. So, like, it's all interconnected, because the force that feeds us is light and information. And the force that they're harnessing and using, and is what is becoming the world, is going to be light and information again. But the only context is like, we are allowing, like, the most evil to perpetuate through the whole thing. So it's like, and through ourselves, and that's why we keep coming here to try to balance out our act, so to speak. But Atlantis seems to be the playing board, and it's like, it's like de-evolution versus evolution, and like, what does it take to evolve? And and that could be so simple for some people. Like, that could be surfing and following your dream, or just following your dream in general would be good. Like, not succumbing to the material influence telling you, no, that's not possible, go work your daily life. Or it could be up to, I want to expose this and this to the public, or I want to think about this, or blah blah, or I want to get, it could be anything within this context. But we're working within the context of becoming this and having to face these things because of our ignorance. Like, our country was founded on not paying taxes, yet we pay taxes for this massive war machine that's going to destroy us in general and enslave us. The military industrial complex are the people running this fucking show. in contact with the extra dimensional beings making the advanced technology, you know, we pay for it. So like we agree to it. We live within the system. And so if like we're agreeing to it, and I'm not like trying to rag on anybody or myself or anything, like we're obviously blessed because we're in a position where we're not in the world of like of hurt and suffering that everybody else on the end of our actions is. Because like holy fuck, that dichotomy to where we are spiritual beings that descend into matter and then decide to go against the energy that gave us life and say, oh, we're not going to have any type of empathy or responsibility for our actions and whatever we do, no matter who it harms or what it harms, like, fuck it. So that's what's happening, and that's what we're allowing to go on. And so, you know, we return to this higher vibrational awareness that includes our light bodies, not just like dense material flesh, like we are infinite beings encased in flesh because we forgot that we're the observer giving the information to the environment.
Right.
And
giving power to the thing.
So that's part of the thing is like, since we're the robot humanoids connected to the grid, we are like the fucking computer processing units. And that's what I mean. Like, this is the context we're working within. Like, we seem to be like units that are processing information for the reality. Like, you're right.
But the reality, this is the thing that I feel people get confused with. The reality does not give a shit what happens. It doesn't care at all. It does not care this race wins, that race wins, the animals all die or they don't die. It doesn't care. This is the base of our consciousness is this neutrality. This is, to me, this is the true base, and this is what people have strayed away from when they got into the whole ego mind shit show that grasps after shiny trinkets all day long. Like, aside from that, there's the I don't give a shitness of the reality, and that's what I embody. That's what I literally embody all the time. I'm aware of the polarities and the dualities that are inherent here, but I see it more as play than as like this big, like, oh my god, like when is the thing gonna blow up, you know?
Yeah. And that's the balance. So that's also a balance of like the play and then realizing what you accept and like taking responsibility for your energy, because ultimately we came into matter to play. We wanted to come here and experience sensation. The only thing is we just see, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to be attached to it one way or other. Like, you know, that's a good way to control your emotions and your energy is to, and the only way that the people within the system can wake up effectively and make change is if they're not emotionally, you know, mortified by the implications and the reality around us. And,
it's difficult though. It's not. It's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a hard vision for people to understand. Like, the vision that I'm just trying to paint for people is that, like, we're entering this science fiction reality that, you know, go watch Blade Runner or, like, fucking just look at what their tires spin webs that can hold humans. So, like, you know, like, all this stuff, we're merging with this quantum realm of information. And it's like happening whether we like it or not. Reality doesn't give a fuck about our feelings. You know what I mean? It's like, but this is the wave that we're riding, and ultimately as individuals, to retain any aspect of freedom, we have to become consciously aware of our situation. And it seems like for the past hundreds of years, people have not accurately been able to even obtain a picture of the situation, because it's been, you know, the higher class and the elites have been the ones running what has been built upon for thousands of years and hundreds of years to build where we are now, because we're almost at the point of complete world domination and control. And I believe that we'll have to get there because it's like kind of prophetic. It's like prophecy and biblical prophecy that it has to come to pass anyway. And I believe since we're so like the the apocalypse. Like, our mindset and our reality is so fucking transfixed on repeating the apocalyptic scenarios over and over and over again, whether it's in, you know, everything, culture-wise, is what I'm saying. So they're giving us the signs, like, this is all coming. This is what we're doing. This is like, you know.
We probably enjoy it then. That's got to be what it means.
I mean is I just wish that I could have a group of people and a way, like an organization, like to make a difference. Because I look up biocarbon engineering where they have drones that plant trees, but you know, it's like the CEO of fucking Google runs it. Mm-hmm. So it's like these are all the same fucking people with the most advanced ideas and technology, running the most corporate situation, like, you know, making money, possibly facing ritual abuse. Like, these are all problems in our society that impede my ability or my comfort level to want to express, like, my ultimate ability to function within society and contribute to it because of these powers that be. And the only way that we can wake up as a society and save our earth and our spirit from going through this traumatic experience again is to become aware and have awareness just in general, because everybody has a cell phone, a cell, you know, like a prison cell or a battery cell, whatever you want to say, and they're compartmentalized.
Microbiology.
You know, we're not unified, or yeah, even like biology. We're not a unified consciousness of people, which is like how you said, it's like when a group of people are together, they can accomplish anything. Nothing can stand in the way. Mm-hmm. But since there's so much disinformation about like what is the reality behind advanced technology or Atlantis or where we came from or who's running what for what reasons, then, you know, nobody can agree on anything and we can't get anywhere. And the only way to obtain any sort of power or influence is to go through the people that compartmentalize from the top down in the pyramid scheme.
Yes, but imagine if you were talking to one, you would resonate with them.
In certain ways, yeah, and in fact, like, I could probably like even a couple of people, and I'm not saying that everybody's MK Ultra or part of a cult or anything like that, and in fact, I want to be a business person, I want to have wealth, and I want to have assets that generate my material wealth without me doing work, like, so that's how the rich people make money, is they have assets that make money for them. And I want that for myself, obviously. Like, I want the best for myself, and I want to advance as a human being in society, and also as a soul being, and not participate in this fucked up shit. Like, because, I mean, you know, the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. But if you join them, you know, you're gonna get dosed with fucking LSD and ritual abuse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that just sounds fucking horrible. Like, possibly eaten alive or, like, kidnapped, you know, your glands are going to be fucking harvested. You're going to get, you know, like, everything. Like, you tell the truth. Like, it's like, and it's because people accept it. It's because the people are comfortable with it pervading that it's even happening. And that's why it's happening again, and that's why history is repeating itself, is because we're saying, okay, it's
but it's not that people are comfortable with it, it's that they themselves have this cognitive dissonance that you referred to earlier that makes it into a non-entity, even to themselves, and then us so-called outsiders that aren't directly being fucked with, we don't see it at all, you know what I'm saying? So it's a very it's a good subterfuge.
You don't see it, but it's there, and it's coded just like everybody dyeing their hair blonde, like I was saying earlier. Like, because they put it in the culture, so we worship them doing this fucked up shit. Like, people worship it, worship the victim of it, and that is what's saturated in people's mind's eye.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we don't know, but it's like, in the fine print, there it is for the people that are aware.
Right.
Like, you know, so.
But it's also is built into the system a perfect natural resistance if the so-called aware come to the sleeping proletariat and say, hey, look, this is happening, they're like, no, I'm gonna chop your head off, and so on and so forth. Like that's the end result, but that's the it's initial reaction of pure violence and force.
It literally is, that is the precursor, or the same thing. But okay, so the hive mind is spiritual. So before we have the material version of such a system where it's somebody says, "Oh, I have an original thought," and then everybody in the room goes, "Intruder, intruder." You know what I mean? But before that, they were all having fucking coffee and saying, "Oh yeah, I saw the football game earlier," and then somebody's like, "Oh shit, it's your interest," and they're like, "Fucking," and they're like, "Oh yeah, the hive mind detected that."
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But that's the microchips in the head, right? That's the physical manifestation. Before that, it was the genocide of the Cathars by the Catholic Church, or the genocide of entire peoples with information by people like that. Genocide was essentially the tool of the Matrix, or the parasitical hive mind consciousness that humanity is struggling with, that is simultaneously themselves, in the projection of these demon and AI forms and fucking lower cognitive things, where everybody is
shadow self, right?
Pitchforks and torches ready to kill somebody and string them up like all at once, like they're all in the same fucking program. Robot shit. Like, I mean, what the fuck even, like, you can't even describe that as like a cognitive, like everybody's all of a sudden doing the same thing, like there's just this fucking energy here and they're all doing it. But now we're going into, there's a wireless transmitter tower over there and it's stimulating certain neurons, and somebody's watching them from a computer screen, or the AI is calculating it. It's becoming apparent and rooted in the reality as it was always destined to be, because it's a spiritual battle first and foremost. And
I always say, like, the what you see, like, the physical is the 0.00000 off into infinity 1 at the very end of it, of what's happening. Everything else is non-visible. But the thing is the entrainment puts us in that minuscule, non-real thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a battle in that you see all the things around. You hear the things, you feel the sensory perceptions. You have all these ideas, but at the same time, the real reality is not. It's not this. It's an inner thing, and it's not debatable.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because what I feel is that the outer reality carries those same characteristics as what you just described the inner reality as. It's like, the laws of physics out here aren't debatable. If you slip in the river and hit your head on that fucking rock, it's going to hurt. You're probably going to crack your skull open. You have to function within this reality. But the truth of the reality is that we are all agreeing and moving into it with our thoughts and feelings foremost, first, before we act with the body.
There's not an external force that's making you do something. Like, if you sit there and say, okay, I want to chill for a second and not move, there's not something that's going to come up and, like, throw you off. Maybe a hurricane will come. That's probably unlikely. But at the same time, like, if you wish to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're available to do that. There's not something stopping you. Like, we are literally our own worst enemies in all cases. Or we're our best friends at the same time. Like, it's whatever energy you want to go into, it's available to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, because we can do that, they know that, and that's what I mean by, like, the CIA and Disney, like, planting ideas in people's heads, or Netflix shows planting ideas in people's heads, like, about careers they want to do, or like maybe Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, like, influenced a whole bunch of people to join the Marines. Like, that's it's fucking we we're constantly being stimulated, and like, from all directions.
It's like you're eternally in the Jack in the Box drive-through looking at the menu, and it keeps changing like all the time. But you know you're gonna receive shit after you pay some money, but you still like it tastes good. But that thing is constantly going. It's hard to remove yourself from the enticement system, whatever form it comes in.
Well, even if you go out and sit in the middle of the woods, nowhere, you're still gonna hear some birds and some squirrels, possibly a bear or a wild animal or some shit, and nature's gonna come and fucking shake the shit up. So I don't know where you're gonna find silence in this world, because I don't think it exists. Like, you go into the sensory deprivation chamber and you're gonna hear your organs. So like.
Or your thoughts. Your thoughts will become like audible to you. You'll just hear like an actual voice just speaking in the chamber.
Yeah, and it's not just that though, you know. So it's like it's not just us, because it's all of us. So, and that's what I mean. It's that mode of thought of not wanting to believe things are real or this reality is real. I wouldn't say that a lot of New Agers are like. Even though New Agers, like, I agree with some things, like, and blah, blah, it's just, like, all I'm saying is, like, we are here in the physical, while simultaneously all those spiritual aspects are happening. But since we're compartmentalized, we're not connecting all of the dots, and they want to keep it that way, like, divided. And I know I'm not offering. It's really interesting because so the golden ratio, sacred geometry, is all about division, like dividing it perfectly. And I've been reading like the Book of Enoch, which is from the Torah, and like the beings in heaven divide flame, like they divide flames, which is light, or fire, like which is phi, the golden ratio, and all this shit. And like it's this mode of thought, which has to do with the Kabbalah and the Fibonacci sequence, which is how everything manifests. Is so much a part of the way that the elitists think and program within their entertainment as well, and this reality too, like the way that I'm being communicated with. And in the Bible, like Phi 3.14 says, like, you know, the golden ratio, it's the I tell them I am who I am sent you. And then, like, I get a phone, like, somebody gives me a free phone, and it's, like, Phi on it. Or, like, I drive down the highway right here, and it's 108 and 27, which are, like, multiples of themselves, which references 432, and then it's, like, 1, 2, 3 kilometers, like, all around the house that I'm living in right now, which is all, like, all Fibonacci, all Pythagoras. So it's, like, in the matrix, manifesting in, like, they're the fundamentals, is what I'm saying, like, we are being denied as people in a public the fundamental sciences that they're using to control us, and that's what Atlantis was all about, was the abuse of this knowledge, which is the higher knowledge of electro.
Maybe that's why we're being kept from it, so we can be determined that we're going to be like good boys and girls instead of shitholes when we actually have access to such high technology.
Yeah, well, I would say yes, but the only thing is like magnetotransfection and nanobots. And that's where I'm at right now, is trying to understand as like how we as lower class people that are being aerosoled, so like the aerosols are what's carrying the technology along with whatever else. And then the electromagnetic waves from the Worldwide Wireless Network, which is also known as the Global Weather Emergency Network, or the wind towers, are all breaking our cells open. And like, let's say in your mind you don't let that happen or whatever, you're healthy because of your mind, which is completely possible. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is like that in our near future, that whether we want to or not, we're like merging into this computer system. And maybe some people are going to be like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But the truth is, like, we're getting aerosol, like, fucking sprayed. Like, the sky is already ionized. Like, they've ionized the atmosphere, which is what Tesla wanted to do to send worldwide wireless energy in one world grid was ionize the atmosphere to send energy and information across it. This was Tesla. And it's like, this is what's happening. So, and I would love to move forward within society and my life with other intelligent people that are not evil as fuck, and how like we want to operate within that, and like how we want to change the world, because otherwise, you know, you go to like I was saying, like biocarbon, they're planting a whole bunch of trees with drones and AI, which is like, I think is great. Like that's the fastest way to do it. Like let's use the technology the best way that we can. But it's headed by like the head of Google. And like that means, oh yeah, those people are like deep in the fucking shit. Like you know, of the occult forces, and it's like, if you want to make a change in society, like do you have to like go and rub shoulders with these people? What about taxes? You know, like we have all these limitations, and we have this view of the world as, you know, these small people. But at some point, you know, we as a society have to come to a common ground so we can act and like have action together.
I mean, it's kind of happening. There is a sort of community that's happening that it isn't totally asleep, but I have not ever seen it happen in my local environment. I've never seen like, for instance, our current conversation, the sort of flavor of it. Never seen it in the local environment. Very rarely, like with my own family, perhaps here and there, but in all of my encounters with other people, whether it be at school or work or church or any other event that's ever happened, I've never seen it. It doesn't happen. Like, it's unusual. This sort of thing that we're doing here is a dance that only occurs in isolation. It's not common, you know. But it's also not prohibited. Like, there's nothing I could say, Christian, let's do a show every single day, and I guarantee you there's not a force that's going to come in and say, no, you guys can't do that. We are self-limited. That's the only limitation that we actually have. I know that when you have a mind that is creative and it likes to like do the things that it does, you might be convinced that, oh well, there's certain things that I can't do because this such and so force is going to stop me. I feel and experientially know that that force isn't even there. Maybe it was there in the past, but it's not there now. Like, we are literally actually free to do and create. And with the what's the word, caveat, with the caveat that be nice to people, like be kind, like don't be a selfish asshole, basically, because otherwise the thing called karma will come get you, like, no doubt about that. But there literally is no limitation to what you can do within creativity, aside from the blinders and binders that we've held for centuries because of all this MK Ultra programming, and because of all the satanic bullshit, and because of all the selfishness and the greed and the corporations and the fake anthropomorphization of everything, you know, like all the stuff that we've done to sort of escape away from our true selves, which is our inner reality, has made us believe to this point that we're incapable of doing these things. But I can tell you, certainly we're not incapable of doing that. And there's not going to be a force that's going to stop us if we do that. And the more so we do it with compassion and acknowledgement that other beings exist and we need to take care of them, the more so that we will be less impeded. There will be some impediments, but it's going to be from ourselves. It's not going to be from the external. There's not a thing stopping us.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I like that idea. I like that mentality. And you gotta believe it, too. Yeah. But I also, like, you gotta realize that, you know, in the past couple months, there's been, like, 80 holistic doctors killed. And
I don't follow
Marilyn
this.
Monroe was gonna expose the UFOs of Roswell to the general public, and she got killed. And, you know, and then a lot of people speak out and don't get killed. That's completely viable and true as well.
You gotta lose the fear. You gotta lose the fear. Look, if you've imagined yourself to be a reincarnated being in the first place, then if you truly know this has happened, then you automatically don't give a fuck if you're killed or not, and unless it's a torturous death, because that's always gonna suck. But you're coming back anyway, so you have to lose the fear aspect for the possibility umbrella to actually like expand out rather than be this little teeny tiny thing covering you from one drop of rain. Let it expand out, and fear is fear. Let it be there for just like if somebody in your local environment is attacking your physical body, let it be there for that. The mental things we conjure ourselves, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. How often have you been physically attacked?
A couple times in my life.
Right. You see, this is a cognitive dissonance in and of itself. This is part of the programming. It's part of the thing that. I mean, you probably felt some apprehension just on leaving the United States to go to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, right? Like you felt. He's gone. Well, that's it for the Snail Show. I hope you all enjoyed. Maybe he's messaging. Nope. That was a very long Snail Show. Yes. Let me know. Please put in the comments what you think about the entire conversation, and as far as human beings and their relationship to the sort of artificial tech environment that has been created. Christian Sanderson. And yeah, just hope you enjoyed. We'll see you soon. I have like 4 other shows coming up this week, possibilities, so stay tuned.